I am joined now by presidential candidate Carly Fiorina, live from the campaign trail in New London, New Hampshire this morning. Carly, welcome. Always good to have you with us.
Good morning, Martha.
Good morning to you. Good to have you as always. You know, you look at what's going on in this world, and you look at North Africa, you look at ISIS, you look at Syria, you look at Iraq, and all the places that this is spreading. The FBI director has told us that they are investigating 900 cases in 50 states in this country. Do you believe that another San Bernardino-style attack is imminent in this country? And if so, what would you do about it if you were president?
Well, as you point out, all of this news reminds us that these are serious and dangerous times, and we need a president, commander-in-chief, with a real plan to deal with it. Hillary Clinton continues to say that climate change and gun control are our most pressing national security problems. They're clearly not. ISIS and Iran are. So let us start by saying that we cannot permit refugees to enter this country unless we know who they are and what their intentions are. And we now know that our federal government can't do that, that our federal government doesn't even know if someone's overstayed a visa, that we have no adequate vetting process. So that's an issue. Secondly, as I've been very explicit about all along, I would engage the private sector very directly in helping us, because our federal government is generations behind on technology. I mean, we've now learned that, for example, our federal government doesn't even bother to check Facebook postings or web postings. Everyone in America checks Facebook postings. I used it to check out my granddaughter's newest boyfriend. Employers use it. But no, our government isn't doing that. This is an example of not only an ideology problem, but a competence problem. So I would engage the private sector. But ultimately, the way to defeat ISIS is to deny them their territory. We must defeat them and deny them the territory that Hillary Clinton actually gave them when she and Barack Obama precipitously withdrew every troop from Iraq against the advice of every general, leaving ISIS this vast swath of territory and weaponry and a vacuum to conquer. We have to take that territory back. We can do so with our Arab allies. They've laid out a plan to do so, but we must do so. Otherwise, we cannot keep Americans safe.
So on day one, you know, you talk about all of these issues, and we are in an increasingly dangerous situation all around the world. The world as we know it is changing pretty much every day as we watch what's coming across.
That's
so
right.
What would be the very first thing you would do? Where would you commit troops? Where would you put our military presence? Signal that you're very serious here.
Well, first, we need a commander-in-chief in the Oval Office who actually knows how the world works, who knows our allies and our adversaries, who's been in the world, who's held clearances, who's made tough choices in tough times, who knows our military and our intelligence capability intimately. I am that leader. We can't ask someone to have on-the-job training in the Oval Office. We've actually tried that. It doesn't work very well. Secondly, I would do three things immediately. Number one, I would provide to our Arab allies the support they have asked us for. Bombs and materiel to King Abdullah of Jordan, intelligence sharing with the Egyptians, arming the Kurds to the full extent that they have asked us for. Gather that coalition. I would change the rules of engagement so that when we put our fighting men and women in harm's way, we give them the opportunity to win. I would have an effective bombing campaign. I would have special forces troops on the ground. I would have a no-fly zone in Syria. And I would make two phone calls immediately. One, to Bibi Netanyahu to reassure him we'll stand with the state of Israel always, and the second to the supreme leader of Iran, who is also engaged in this mess in the Middle East because Iran is an adversary. And I would tell the supreme leader of Iran that until and unless he opens every military and nuclear facility to real anytime, anywhere inspections by our people, not yours, that we, the United States of America, will cut off the money flow. We can do that. We don't need collaboration to do it, and we have to do it. And with those things, a message will go out around the world immediately. The United States of America is back in the leadership business, is going to stand up with our allies and defeat our adversaries. That is a real reset, not a gimmicky red button, Mrs. Clinton.
Let's swing back home here. You're in New Hampshire. That race is less than a month away when people will start to go to the polls. Do you believe that the scene on the ground there is different than it's been perceived across the country?
Oh, absolutely.
How so?
Absolutely. Well, in New Hampshire, first of all, we know from history that New Hampshireites tend to make up their minds in the last month, in the last 2 weeks, actually in the last 2 days. So polling can say all kinds of things, but the reality is this is a wide open race. Secondly, we're packing them in town halls, morning, noon, and night. So I know what I see on the ground, and what I see are New Hampshireites who, for example, never asked me about Donald Trump. They asked me the kinds of questions you just did. How is it that we defeat ISIS? How is it that we grow the economy? Why are we settling for a nation where we have record numbers of men out of work and record numbers of women living in poverty and young people who don't even know the American dream is true for them anymore? Why are we settling for this? That's why I'm running for president, because we shouldn't settle for this anymore.
Yeah. Well, we've heard that people in New Hampshire aren't even answering the phones anymore when the pollsters call because they're so sick and tired of it.
That's right.
It may be that we're not getting a good read. It's going to be really interesting. Carly Fiorina, thank you. Always good to talk to you.
Thanks, Martha.